Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo First here at Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi. Located in Yerushalyim, HaKodesh, we are learning Mishna here, our second shir in the day. Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi is located in the Knesset of Chanech Yeshiva on HaKodesh Yaakov number 6, not too far from the central bus station. Therefore, you can walk from there, take a bus. If you're driving, there's lots of parking across the street. And if you're coming from Torah, please, we're happy to have you join us so we can enrich your visit to Yerushalyim with as much Torah as humanly possible, with great siyata d'shmaya ben. Mishna Berura in Simin Tov Pei. These are halachas which are the days that fasting were declared, and in general, just as our preface, we don't fast too much except on the major fasts. Yom Kippur, of course, is the Raisa. Tisha B'Av is the day of the Korban of Bias, and we fast on that day. And then we have three other fasts: Thomas Esther, Sarah B'Tamus, Yuzayin B'Tamus, and Sarah B'Tavis, and Tzom Gedala, four others. So there's actually 6 fasts that we fast during the year. Others, not too many people fast commonly in our time, but this is the halakha. We're learning this now to have a contrast to the Maimer of Shmuel that we learned in the shir just previous to this about not rejoicing over your enemy's downfall. This will help us understand the whole topic as Hashem as we get further on into it. Baruch would like to read the beginning. There's Yomim Tachkuf Pei, Yomim is Anima. These are the days that you fast on them. And Sif Aleph, Mechaber, up on top.
אלה הימים שערב בהם צירויס אבויסנו. רואים וסמנוס בהם ואף כל פי שסוסם ראש חודש. יש מי שאומר חודשנו בוי. וטוב שלא
Okay, these are the days that happen to them, calamities, distressful things through our Avosenu, to our forefathers, and it's really, it's fitting to fast on these days. It occurred. She'ra'u or she'eru. She'eru, that occurred from Me'in Eruya. We have it, what's an Eruya? Eruya is an event. Right? So these are days that occurred on them, sorrows, bad tidings, bad things to our saints, our forefathers. And Eruya is fitting, not that you're obligated, it's fitting that you fast on these days. And even though some of these days may come out on Rosh Chodesh, it's still fitting that you fast on them. Right? Nisha, and they still say, Nisha, that you should fast on them. And Ramah adds, with Tov, however, it's Tov, it's better, Shlo Yashlim Rosh Chodesh. It's better not to finish the fast on Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is a day which is joyous, festive, and you don't want therefore fast the whole day.
So if you fast there Rosh Chodesh, you should eat before nightfall? I'm just asking.
I'm not sure.
Because it's not fast Rosh Chodesh.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but maybe that's like the going into the Rosh Chodesh. Maybe that's easier. I mean, maybe just really because you're only going to just a few moments. You have to down in Ma'ariv and then things. I'm not sure. Good question.
So all these fasts you're going to mention are not the regular fasts we do.
That's right.
For this individual.
Yes.
But it's not a fear.
Not a key. It's right that you could take a look at the Mishna Berura and Sifkat Nalef. He'll clarify it a bit. Take a look at the Mishna Berura and Sifkat Nalef. Ro'ei Nasanas, it's befitting. It's not an obligation, but it's befitting that you fast on these days. Okay, so I look in the Beis Yosef, right? That's the Mechaber, the Yosef Cairo, wrote a sefer called the Beis Yosef. That was a commentary on the Torah. And after that, he wrote the Shulchan Aruch. So when you look at this, the same author's work on the Torah, which is called the Beis Yosef, you'll see that there are Rishonim, right? There are early authorities that are questioning this, that have questions about this. Yeah. With Daitam, according to those opinions, according to those opinions, you should be careful not to fast on these days that will be listed, when they will occur, any one of them, on Rosh Chodesh. Right? So according to those opinions, you should not be fasting if any of these days occur on a Rosh Chodesh. Okay? Okay, so there's those that write that these were established in the times of the Gemara, Chachmei Talmud, right? And what's in it? Is that a history lesson is telling us to Mr. Berura? What's relevant to us if it's from the time of the Gemara or not? Right? So it says, right? So therefore, since it's something which was already established at the time of the Gemara, right? Therefore, a Baal Nefesh, someone who cares about his spiritual success, right? Yachmir should be stringent with himself, im efshelo. If it's possible for him, he should be stringent and fast on these days. Which in general, you're not going to find too many people that are actually doing it. I mean, you may find certain exceptions, but most people, hard times, things have become, people are very much more weak and much more drawn to the necessities of eating and drinking, so it's not really so common to find people who are doing this. But if the person can do that and not sacrifice any of his energies for learning or his energies for keeping a good matzah ruach, a good personality, he's not going to get jumpy at people and things like this. If he's going to be fasting, he's going to be a big tzaddik. When he's fasting, but he's going to jump on everybody, looks at him a little bit not with his happy smile. He's getting into fights with people, so he's not really accomplishing too much.
Well, do people do these days? Fasting?
In general, you won't find too many people. You won't find too many. There may be people.
The Gedolim, fasting.
You have to ask the Gedolim. That's good. Okay.
Torah, Chas v'Shalom. Yotze Hisanos Rosh Chodesh Mishna. Al Tzorosei Osu. Kevan Shehu Vayhai Goe Toni Toni Osu Tonis.
Okay, so nevertheless, even someone who is not usual to fast these fasts, and let's say it happens to him some bad event, and he wants to fast, and he wants to decide to fast on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, he shouldn't. That's forbidden, because the minhag is that on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, there's never to be a fast. Never fast on Rosh Chodesh. Okay, one of these days, let's take a look.
What if a person doesn't fast, then Tzaris happens to him?
Excuse me?
People don't fast in these days, it says Tzaris, no?
On Rosh Chodesh, if it's a Rosh Chodesh Nisan, shouldn't fast. You shouldn't fast. Also. Okay, so one of these days, look and sit days.
Okay, the Sefer Chasidim.
No, back up at top. Okay, sorry.
Look in this paragraph. And bet.
Oh, sorry.
Second line.
Echad.
So these are the days where there was the custom to fast.
Echad Nisin, Vanisin. Nesu, Bnei Aharon.
Like the two sons of Aaron, right? They died on the first day of Nisan. That's when the first day of the inauguration and construction assembly of the Mishkan in the Midbar. That day they died.
Basara boy Naisa Miriam Stalik Asirin the Shisha boy nice Yeshua and
Okay, so on the let's see in Nisan, on the 10th day of Nisan, that's when Miriam was Nister, and also the bear, the well that we had in the time when we were traveling through the Midbar, right? That also left with the death of Miriam. We lost the bear, and then on the 26th of Nisan, right? Meis Yeshua ben Nun, right? Yeshua ben Nun was Nifter on that day. Okay.
Asara Yornes Eli HaKodesh Ushnei Mano Nishpo Aram
Okay, so on the 10th of Iyar, Eli Cohen and his two sons were died, and also the Aaron, right? The Aaron that they took out to war, was captured by the Philistines.
Right.
That was on the 10th of Iyar. Okay.
That's Esrin Shmoina by nice Shmuel another.
On the 28th of Iyar, so Shmuel Navi was Nifter. Yeah, question. Yeah.
How is that precise date known? Because I remember being recorded in Tanakh. It's just
Again, Nach is not a history book.
Yeah.
It contains many informative things that are relevant to history, but it's not meant to be a history book. Even the Berura Yami was not necessarily meant to be a history book.
So this is before the end of the war, just this date.
It's obviously clear. Or there was certain swearing that contained these dates and information. So,
Esrin Shlosha Vasivin Parkimu Lagaran Chayrim La'alef Yerushalyim Bnei Yeravim
and so on the 23rd of Sivan, right, we're in Sivan now, right? So that'll be next week, right? 23rd of Sivan, the Bikurim that they would bring up to Yerushalyim, that was suspended in the time of Yeravim ben Nevat. Russia, he was a king of Russia, right? Melech, not Melech Yehudim, Melech Israel, and he suspended, wanted to dissuade and prevent the Jewish people from coming up to Yerushalayim.
Esrin V'chamisha Korei Bon Shimon ben Gamliel Rabbi Yishmael Rabbi Kamina Sekan Kohen.
Okay, so on the 25th of Sivan, Narad Rabbi Shimi ben Gamliel, Rabbi Yishmael, Rabbi Chanina Sagi and the Kohen. They were killed. They were martyred. Yeah, they died al Kiddush Hashem. They were martyred.
Esrin Beshivo by Nisraf Rabbi Chanina and Teradian the secretary.
So on this 27th of Sivan, Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan and the Sefer Torah were burned together. He died. Also on Kiddush Hashem.
The Echad of nice coin. Mishna also by Kobo Avi
So on the first of Av, right, Rosh Chodesh Av, Aaron the Kohen was nifter, he was died. We have the Shmoina Asar on the 18th of Av. The Ner Moravi was extinguished in the time of Achaz.
Yeshiva also.
Yeah.
What's the little Gimel footnote there? What does that mean?
Let's see, your little gimel is, by what word is that?
Beshiva. In other words, there's the Zion in the parentheses,
Right.
and then it says Beshiva Asar Be'elu Mesu, and it has a little tiny Gimel right above the right of the base.
Okay, that goes to the Bir HaGoyla. If you look at the upper extreme right hand corner, very upper extreme right hand, it's called the words there at the top of the line next to the Nun Aleph called Bir HaGoyla.
Okay, I see.
Right? So this is a commentary which basically just cites for you the source of this
That sentence.
yes.
Okay.
Where it is? It's found in the Gemara. It's found in say a Tosfos. It's found in, if there's a pasuk which is relevant.
Thank you.
Very
Sorry.
good. No problem.
Yeshiva also Be'elu. Nice. Let's see. The bus.
Yeah.
Oras.
Libas ha'oretz.
Okay.
It says like this. So on the 18th, right? So the 18th. Okay, so excuse me, like this. So Beshiva Osir Be'elo, on the 17th of Elo, Mesu Moitzi Dibas Ha'oretz. On the 17th of Elo, right? Those the Meraglim, yeah, the Meraglim, right, were killed, right? So, okay, so this is where we want to stop for a moment. Actually, it's very nice that you mentioned the Bir Gorla because we can because you see that there's a little star with the bracket there, right?
Yes.
Right. The Shiva also Be'elo Mesu Amotzi Dibas Arts. On the 17th of Elul, they died those who disgraced the land, right? So there's a little star with a crescent over there, a parentheses bracket, right? Parentheses there. So if you go back to that Bir HaGoyla, right, and you'll see you have two sections, the top upper right section, then there's a break of a few spaces, then there's an aleph and beginning another section of that Bir HaGoyla. You go 5 lines into that, or 6 lines into that section, you see a star, that same star, right? Take a look what he says. He's explaining now what's the Motzi Dibasa Arts. Is that okay? You can read that, Baruch? Is that
Next part. Just look. Perish. Punish. Ayo. Ayoch. Mishtar. Mishayna. Kediver.
Okay, so it says, Perish, Anash, Ansham Hayamiyad, their punishment was immediate, right? They got punished immediately. Shinish Tabe Lashonam, Kedivrei Medrash. Like, if you remember, Rashi describes that their tongues came out and they got stabbed by their own tongues and this and that. So what's going on? Because this is really, when did the Meraglim come back? Remember when the Meraglim came back?
The spies.
It's Yeshua.
Yeshiva. Right. So what's the point that they died on Yeshiva Osa Be'elu? Right. That's 2 weeks later. 3 weeks later.
More. The 9th of Av to the 17th is 5.
Yeah.
There's 9 and 9.
So you have the 17th of Elul, right? So that's 17, and then you have from the 9th of Av,
It's almost
it's
5 and a half
11.
weeks.
So it's 19,
5.5 weeks.
19 and 19, 17 and 11 is 30,
It's 28.
28, 4 weeks. 4 weeks, correct.
Can't be, Rabbi. If it's the 9th,
Ninth of Av.
the 9th of Av, until you go to the 9th of Elul, that's 4 weeks. And then you go to the 17th, it's 5.5 weeks,
Right. Oh, good. Right.
right? But I thought he died the next day.
Apparently, yeah. So the question, that's I think what we're dealing with here a little bit. Let's see what the rest of the Berura says. Oh, that's what he's going to say here. Not this is something people may not know. Right. So it says here. You have further there.
Yeah.
It says, "V'hayu misma sim." Go ahead.
B'chalayim ra'im ad Yud Zayin Elul.
Oh, so they were smatzim, b'cholim roim. They were distressed with terrible sicknesses until Yud Zayin Elul. They didn't die immediately, right? They died because of their illnesses, which continued on until Yud Zayin Elul.
But you also talk about who these people?
Maraglim. That's probably not known to many people. If you want to astound your friends and please your family, right? You can talk about this sometime. It'll be in a parsha or so, right? We'll get the parshas of Meraglim not so far. It'll be a couple of weeks from now. Not too many people know this. Yeah. How long did it take the Meraglim to die?
20 years.
They were the Meraglim themselves. Right? Remember Rashi says that their tongues came out and extended and they kind of stabbed themselves with their own tongues, and a very terrible thing.
Who saw you coming to?
So it took from the 9th of Av until the 17th of Elul for them to die.
Wow. And then they went too quickly.
They didn't go quickly at all. Hashem gave them tremendous punishments.
Yeah, but the rest of Israel took 40 years, and that was it.
Well, that's when we had to now not go the direct way to Eretz Yisrael. That was the final straw, right? That was the final straw. This week's parsha we talk about how the Klal Yisrael broke camp and they were hopefully supposed to go into Eretz Yisrael within 3 days' time. Right? We stayed at Har Sinai long enough that we should learn the Torah. Then we proceeded on. Hashem broke camp in Nani Kavod, and we were supposed to proceed directly to Eretz Yisrael, but things got messed up. But that still wasn't the decree that we would have to spend 40 years in the Midbar, right? It was only decreed that we would spend 40 years in the Midbar at the time of the Bas Haaretz, at the time of the decree that was based on the Lashon Hara that we heard and accepted from the Meraglim. So here we see he didn't die until the 17th of Elul. And that, as the Berura says, that it took that much time for them to suffer through their sicknesses. Right? Well, now I guess you could continue on there. Matters I'll read the rest of the Berura there. It's going to be exactly the same that what the Mishna brings down, because that is a question. Again, the question here is the Meraglim have died, right? The Meraglim, of all the people in Klal Yisrael, there's probably no group of people that did as much damage to Klal Yisrael than the Meraglim, right? They caused a whole generation to be killed off because of the acceptance of the Lashon Hara that Klal Yisrael did at the hands of the Meraglim. Every person any male from 20 years old to 60 years old had to be killed off. They were not allowed to come into Eretz Yisrael. Right? So that's 600,000 men died at the hands of the Meraglim because of the decree that the HaKodesh made that they believed their Lashon Hara. Right?
They would have died eventually anyway.
Yeah, but you guy go this way, you guy that way. Yeah, they could have come into Eretz Yisrael and had We have no idea. Moshe Rabbeinu prayed so much to come into Eretz Yisrael. We have no concept of. We take it for granted. Come in, go out, stay, leave. You know, we don't have the concept. Moshe Rabbeinu was crying. His greatest wish and hope was to come to Eretz Yisrael. Gedol Yador, the Chavetz Chaim wanted to come. Baal Shem Tov wanted to come. The Gaon wanted to come. And they couldn't make it. So it says here what? There's a question. Now there's a question we have to ask ourselves, and this is why we're learning this now, because this relates to what we're discussing in this year in Pirkei Avos. Right?
Af al gav.
And that's an introduction to a question. Even though Af al gav, that's a question. That's a key word, key phrase for a question. Af al gav, even though this, and this, and this. However, we have a question.
Dava avod Rishaim Rina.
That's a pasuk for Mishlei. Pasuk in Mishlei says, "Avoid Rishoyim Rino," that the destruction of the Rishoyim is joy. Berura. Mr. Berura brings us down as well, but since we start with the Berura, we continue with it.
The destruction of the Say that what you just said?
The avoid Rishoyim Rino. That the destruction of Rishoyim, of the evil people, is joy.
Okay.
So that's an obvious question from based on what we've been learning, that what Shmuel was teaching, Shmuel HaKodesh was teaching us. Shmuel HaKodesh was teaching us that our enemies, we shouldn't rejoice over the downfall of our enemies. And here it's the pasuk in the Mishlei also. Shmuel HaKodesh is quoting a pasuk in Mishlei, right? And we're going to be quoting a pasuk in Mishlei. And they seem to be saying two different things. So the Berura, as the Mishnah Berura is going to bring a teretz. What's the teretz? Why should you be joyous over the Rishoyim downfall? That's number one. And number two, as the Mishnah Berura is going to point out, well then why are we fasting? What are we fasting? Again, the first line in the Mechaber was Eloi Yamin Arei Lehem Soris Lavosenu. These are the days that bad things happen to our forefathers. So what's the death of the Meraglim you have to do? What's bad about that? What's bad about the death of the Rishoyim, the Meraglim? Right? The Pasuk Mishnah says, right? Oyvei Rishoyim Rina. You have the destruction of the Rishoyim. That brings joy. It's a joyful time. You see the Rishoyim destroyed. Should be joyful. So how can we fast on that day? What's so sad about that day that they died? That's the question that the Berura is alluding to, and that's what the Mishnah Berura says Mefurish. Maybe we'll just take a look at the continue with the Berura. We'll see the Mishnah Berura. Why? What's so sad about it? Right? What's so sad about that we have to fast?
Shema mipnei shalu zahu shetis kabel teshu chasam mitzta'a rinan umistama shavu velo niskablu.
Beis Yosef. So the Beis Yosef is the one who's asking this question,
Okay.
and the Beis Yosef is answering. So Shema mipnei shelo zachol is kabel tshuvasa mitzdarim. It could be that they weren't privileged that HaKodesh Baruch Hu should accept their tshuva, right? Umistame, it's most likely that they did do tshuva, but Hashem didn't accept their tshuva. So we're sad about the fact that HaKodesh Baruch Hu did not accept the tshuva of the Meraglim.
Well, why? I thought Hashem's open to any way that calls out to him.
Yeah, but Hashem's still the king.
Sometimes his answer is no.
You can try as hard as you want. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to get into Eretz Yisrael also, but the doors are closed. Take a look at the Mishnah Berura. We'll stop in a moment. Just the Mishnah Berura and doesn't pass. Yeah.
They lost the thing in Olam Haba too.
Well, that's not the question right now. Whether the question is Olam Haba. The Basa Ars, you have that in Sivkar Ches in the Mishnah Berura. Yaakov, you just want to read that last one,
From Chamishi.
Then Neches in the Mishna Berura. Dibasa Aretz. Sivkat Neches.
Asif Cotton, excuse me, okay. Okay, Vakasha HaKativ, and it is difficult, right? There's a difficulty here.
Yeah.
Ba'avod Risha'im, Rina, in the destruction of the perishing of the rashes of the evil people, Rina, rejoice. This is in Mishlei, Parak 11, verse 10. Now, Shar Demis Tsama, and it is possible, I'm not sure what Demis Tsama means.
The most likely.
That most likely Shavu, V'lo Zachu Yikubal Shivata. Most likely they did tshuva, but they do not merit to have their tshuva received. V'lachein misanin, and because of this, we fast.
And that's why we fast. We fast. Why are we fasting? We're fasting because they probably did do tshuva, and we're fasting. It's a sad day for us that Hashem didn't accept the tshuva. Okay, we'll have to stop here. We'll continue.
Sometimes Hashem says no.
That is right. Sometimes Hashem says